Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There are those still in Nakara who worship Nagash as Arkan leads his followers against the forces of chaos. So I have myself is going to be leading the Tomb Kings, and we have Kafka who will be leading the Chaos Horde. So for the followers of Nagash, we have a front line of Tomb Guard with a mix of Skeleton Warriors and Skeleton Spearmen, kind of just dotting around kind of a loose box formation. And on top of that, we do have double melee Ushapti, as well as the Chosen of the Gods Ushapti with Great Bows. For the leadership department, we do have Arkan the Black. He is going to be rocking Spirit Leech, Doom and Darkness, the Libra Mortis, Staff of Nagash, and the Tomb Blade of Arkan. So other than the Doom and Darkness spell, everything's pretty standard stuff for Arkan. I do like kind of bringing Doom and Darkness. Having that leadership nuke actually can be quite good if you do cast it at the right time. And we do have a couple of Necrotechs as well, and they will both be bringing their little replenishment for constructs, so they restore, so they get 960, and they get 2 casts of that apiece. So that's a nice bit of healing to go the way of the 2 melee Ushapti, who are really going to be trying to chew through that chaos armor. On top of that, we do have the Kepra Guard, Tomb Guard ROR, which does do magic damage, and we have the Blessed Legion of Pakath, which does do armor sundering attacks. Again, very good against Chaos, who does generally have a lot of high armored stuff. Otherwise, we do have a bit of Fellbats in the air, a little unit thanks to the followers of Nagash sub-faction. Just a little bit of mobility, something to chase things off if they are able to. But now for Chaos. The Chaos forces are going to be led by Archaon, the Ever-Chosen himself. He's going to be bringing Fireball, Burning Head, as well as the Slayer of Kings. So a nice, very substantial buff to melee, giving him a lot of extra armor piercing, splash attacks, and the like. Otherwise, we do have a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and some Chaos Trolls for some monstrous units, and we do have a Chaos Feral Manticore as well, kind of off onto the periphery. Manticores can do very well against Tomb King characters, especially characters like Arkan and the Necrotechs, so that's going to be actually a fairly decent pick here. Otherwise, the front line going to be just some Chaos Marauders, as well as the Mirror Guard, the Chaos Warriors ROR unit. So they do have Immunopsychology, and they do have Silver Shields as well, and 100 armor to boot. So very high armored unit, and there is a pair of Chosen with halberds, a very elite unit. Really expecting some large units for the Tomb Kings, and there are going to be some with the Ushapti and even Arkan himself. And then on the flanks, we do have a couple of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. Again, a good unit for some large constructs. For the melee Ushapti, maybe not as good, but they still have Arkan to shoot at on his chariot, so some large targets for them to pepper their shots in. But those are our armies, so let's get this show on the road as both armies kind of square off to face one another. The Tomb Kings will have the advantage in terms of range with the Chosen of the Gods. But Archaon is going to be firing away with his fireball as well. It looks to be targeting the Chosen of the Gods, trying to peel off as many models as he can. So that fireball is going to be arcing its way on over, and it will make contact with one of the units, but it doesn't kill anything. It does have a little bit of damage, probably not as much as Chaos would have wanted. And now we have a little bit of mobility kind of circling around as the Marauder Horsemen of Throwing Axes kind of getting behind the formation here, as well as the Chaos Feral Manticore. Just kind of keeping a little bit of pressure into the back line as the Chosen of the Gods do open up fire into the Chaos Marauders, and the throwing axes will be opening up into the Skeleton Spearmen as well. But now the Chosen of the Gods are going to be turning their fire towards these Marauder Horsemen, trying to shut down the mobility as best they can, and they do a lot of damage because they do have the kind of spread shot as the shots arc in, and they can do a ton of damage against kind of grouped up units. And another fireball looks to be arcing its way over towards the Chosen of the Gods from Archaon, and let's see if this one does any more damage than the last shot, as it will be arcing its way straight on over, and it does do some damage as well. But again, none of the models die from that. Again, it's not really doing as much damage probably as Chaos would have wanted. And we do have a Spirit Leech also going down on top of the Marauder Horsemen as they kind of get really, really close to these Chosen of the Gods, and that point-blank fire is just ripping through these Marauder Horsemen, routing this unit. Both the Spearmen do respond to kind of close that gap in case they wanted to try and charge through, but that will be routing one of the units, and the other one taking some damage as well. Velbats are going to be kind of swinging around trying to chase these off, but that Feral Manicore is going to be sitting really, really close by, so should be able to keep those Felbats away. But now more shots continuing to rain in, and both of the horsemen have now routed one time so far, and these Felbats are going to be jumping on top of them, but the Feral Manicore is going to be coming to try and get them off the field. But a nice burning head, but it does get dodged by the Kepler Guard. It goes through the Chosen of the Gods, but again, they're not going to really take a whole lot of damage. It's really good against infantry, not so much against the constructs. And the Ushapti pushing Archaon away from this formation, and another fireball. So a lot of magic has been going the way of those Chosen of the Gods, and they are still at all their models right now. They still have 9, and these Felbats are going to be chased off by the Chaos Feral Manicore. They generally do have a lot more speed though, but they are kind of getting a little mixed up in that Feral Manicore, so they are going to be pulled into his speed. Because if you take a quick little look, the speed of the Felbats is 110, and the Chaos Feral Manicore is only 85, so they should, in theory, be able to pull away from that Feral Manicore, but just how close he was, he's able to keep them occupied despite that speed disadvantage. But the Chosen of the Gods just absolutely lighting up these Marauder Horsemen once again, routing off this one for the second time, and the other one's getting very, very close, and taking a ton of point-blank shots to the face. And finally, Archaon is able to pull one of those Chosen of the Gods down, but this one unit of horsemen does shatter, and the other unit is running off the field very, very quickly. So far, I think the trade-off has kind of gone a bit into the Tomb King's favor, as Archaon just has been unable to really shut down the Chosen of the God, and Chaos finally does push forward here, as pretty much all of its ranged support has been pushed off, and more fireballs come in the way of the Chosen of the Gods. And I think at this point they've already used over half of their ammunition, and that magic is probably best used elsewhere. But so far, here is the frontline engagement. Spearmen going to be holding back those Chaos Trolls, and the Shaggoth is going to be looking to get on top of these Ushapti, but the Necrotech will be supporting, and those Chaos Marauders will quickly get pushed off there, especially with the elite Tomb Guard unit. But right now, the Feral Manicore does jump on top of the Chosen of the Gods, finally shutting them down. And Archaon is also in that back line, looking to just finish them off once and for all now that the front lines have engaged. But these Marauders are quickly routing across the field. They do not have a whole lot of good leadership, and they are against undead. So Archaon is also supporting this frontline engagement. The Liber Mortis does go down on this little blob fight here, so the Chosen with halberds are going to do a little bit less damage to those Ushapti, and yeah, these Chosen of the Gods, they are quickly getting peeled off one by one, down to 4 models. With each swing of Archaon's sword, more units do fall. And here are the Kepler Guard looking to get into these Chosen with halberds, and that is their targets that they're going to need to deal with. The 2 Chosen units need to fall, and the Ushapti with the Ushapti melee variant are not going to be able to really do a whole lot there. Right now, they are kind of surrounding the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, but that's probably not the engagement that they are going to want either. Let the Spearmen kind of drag that down, and let that Blessed Legion get that armor sundering, get that armor down as best it can. So now if we take a look, it is down to 40 armor from those shots, so doing fairly decent there. Otherwise, this flank has been pushed back by the Ushapti with the Skeleton Warriors, and now the Chosen are trying to drag things down, but we do have a summon from Archaon with his Tombblade. But here is a nice, juicy burning head going to be going right through the formation, burning through this summon and a bit of the Tomb Guard as well. But we also get a Doom and Darkness actually going down, probably a little preemptive there, trying to break these Chosen, but they weren't really low enough for that to really do a whole lot. I was trying to get it off before when that surround happened, but that Doom and Darkness will be kind of wasted in that cast. The Ushapti summon actually coming down though, looking to get a rear charge penalty off onto these Chaos Trolls, who are now wavering. So Doom and Darkness at this point would have likely broken those Chaos Trolls, especially with the rear charge coming in from 2 Ushabti units and now the surround from the Skeleton Spearmen. Oh, but on the other side, Chaos Shaggoth is getting on top of Arkan the Black, and he does not want to be anywhere nearby as the Liber Mortis pretty much gets all of the units of the Tomb Kings right now, as the Chosen with halberds are being pushed off by the Kepra Guard, and the shots raining from the Blessed Legion are just continuing to get some nice armor sundering, get some additional damage, but the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth looking to shut that down as best it can, and it does charge in. Now, this Necrotech is getting very, very low. It has really used up by one of its restores at this point, but these Chaos Marauders will not be able to break that Necrotech so easily, especially with the assistance of Arkan the Black coming in. And these Chaos Trolls that have been routed for quite some time, but are only just being able to get out of the surround that the Tomb Kings have gotten off onto the Chaos Forces. But however, the Chaos Feral Manticore is rampaging, but it is peeling off a lot of these Felbat units who would very much like to be chasing off kind of the routing units of the Chaos. But the Chaos Trolls have shattered now with the assistance of Arkan, as they just very slowly were able to get out of that blob, and that really allowed them to take a lot more damage than they would have liked, as if had they routed, they very well could have come back and got a lot more regen in the time being. But now this last blob of Chaos is getting quickly chewed through the Chosen with halberds and the Mirror Guard, losing fairly consistently, and Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, though, is standing tall, and we do look like have a little spell coming down. This is a overcasted Doom and Darkness looking to break these routing Chosen and Mirror Guard, and down goes one, and will the Chosen also rout, and they do. So that overcasted Doom and Darkness was very, very good, allowing these two units to break. And now that there shouldn't be really a whole lot that they can stick around with. They do have the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and the Feral Manticore with Archaon, who do have quite a bit of speed between the three of them. And this Chaos Feral Manticore doing a good number on that Necrotech, and that is exactly who he wants to be engaged with right now, getting rid of those Tomb King characters. But he will jump into the sky as Arkan the Black does kind of come in. He is going to be chasing off these Mirror Guard as best he can, as allowing the Skeleton Spearmen to really get in, because at this point, Arkan, there isn't really any good targets for him to deal with. The Necrotech does go down, because that Shaggoth and Archaon can just do a massive amount of damage to Arkan the Black at this point, and so he's just going to want to act as a supporting role from here on out. The Blessed Legion trying to break these Chosen one more time, as these Tomb Guard are going to be rotating around to finish them off once and for all. And these Tomb Guard themselves, but they'll be pulling back, allowing the Skeleton Spearmen, the kind of cheaper unit, just to deal with these routing Chosen. But now just the surround on the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and Archaon is all that is left. The Feral Manticore is off in the distance right now. Not really sure where it has gone. Here it is right here, so it is going to be trying to come back in the assistance of Archaon, but that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth does rout, though it does have a considerable amount of speed. It does have 76 speed. Arkan the Black himself has 84, so he would be able to chase off the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, but that Chaos Feral Manticore will not let that happen, as well as Archaon is going to be chasing after Arkan himself. It does not want that Shaggoth to get routed off so easily. And Archaon does have 84 speed, so he has the speed to match Arkan. Actually, he has 96 speed, so he is actually quicker than Arkan on his chariot, so he will be able to make sure that Arkan stays away. And a nice fireball going right into the rear of that chariot, doing quite a bit of damage there. However, the Chaos Feral Manticore is rampaged once again, and this time it is rampage with Ushabti and plenty of summons around it, and it will be routing. And now Arkan will be swinging to make sure that that thing does not come back. And it is now just down to Archaon and the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Now that Shaggoth is very, very low himself, and if the only thing I can see Archaon coming back with is if he has a nice juicy burning head left, because right now he's just going to have to be drawn down with all of the infantry of the Tomb Kings. They do have some kind of heavy hitters left. All the ammo has been spent by the Blessed Legion, and this unit of Ushabti is fairly low on health as well. But Arkan is doing a very good job of keeping that Chaos Feral Manticore on the ground, as he is just going to relentlessly hound that off into the edge of the map. And now a little separation between the Shaggoth and Archaon, as the Ushabti do get on top with some spear support as well, and the Necrotech. So that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth is going to be wavering right now and is just down to 566 health, 322 now with another hit to the rear, as it will be routing off 295 health. It is not likely that that thing will be seeing a return to this engagement, so it is likely going to be just down to Archaon, the Everchosen now, who has Foe Seeker, giving a little bit of extra vigor back. But otherwise, he's just going to be slowly getting worn down now with the Kepra Guard, as well as a unit of Tomb Guard and Skeleton Warriors. Though he is a formidable foe, as he does have 120 armor himself, with 78 melee attack and 60 melee defense. And right now, his Slayer of the Kings is actually off, getting him a little bit of extra splash attack to deal with all of this chaff units. So that is how he's going to try and get back. But he is taking quite a bit of damage, and there is a ton of Tomb King infantry left, and they're just kind of hanging off onto the side right now. They don't want to be allowing Archaon to get a nice juicy burning head that can pretty much just finish him off. That Shaggoth did shatter completely, and Archaon is going to be returning to the battle with having dealt with that Feral Manticore. Now, the Necrotech can go in and out of this engagement, though it is a very risky proposition. He has to make sure that it happens when Archaon does not have the Slayer of the Kings ready to go. And even without it, Archaon is such a world beater that he can do so much damage to that Necrotech in only a few swings. We do have some of the Skeleton Spearmen now are going to be coming in, as both of these Skeleton Warriors and that Tomb Guard are getting a little low. They do have bonus versus large, but I mean, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. The Kepra Guard are really going to have to try and wear this down. So Archaon has taken about half of his health off, though, from just these units surrounding him. So things are not looking so good for Chaos, and Tomb King forces wisely just staying out of this battle, does not want to be getting into this engagement at all. Archaon can potentially cycle charge, so that is what he's going to try and do here. Get a nice little charge off, but Archaon is going to quickly turn around and try and deal the final blow. But Archaon, with all of his mass, is able to pull out of that engagement very, very quickly. And that is going to force Archaon back into that melee blob of Tomb King infantry. But there is a little bit of a charge there, and Archaon will take some damage that he doesn't want to take, and he does use a summon to bog down Archaon to keep him in that engagement, and I think that is going to be the last time Archaon does try that, and Chaos will concede, seeing that all hope has been lost, and Archaon was slowly getting pulled down throughout the course of that battle. Though Archaon, 222 kills, that is no small number there, doing a lot of good work. Some kills with the Burning Head, not a whole lot, but a lot of that was pretty much just in the infantry fight, dealing with the Chosen of the Gods and just kind of all of that general infantry. Mirror Guard also doing quite well, 107 kills for them, Shaggoth 109, and I think the Chosen with Halberds were kind of a little lackluster for Chaos here, as I think the Kepra Guard just did so well against them, and they were just outnumbered on the infantry department, and with just all the spell support and stuff like that, and especially that kind of mid-game surround that Chaos was suffered from, as a lot of the Tomb King infantry just collapsed upon kind of the last elite units of Chaos. The Chosen of the Gods doing some good work as well, making sure that those Marauder Horsemen and the mobility of Chaos was severely crippled early in that match. And I think Chaos kind of needed to realize that earlier on, that those horsemen were not going to be able to get any good shots in, and they kind of just wanted to keep them for that late game. However, losing them early on just left that Chaos Feral Manticore as the only thing that could really chase things off, or not necessarily chase things off, but to prevent the Tomb Kings from chasing things off. But otherwise, it was a very fun match, and I do hope you all enjoyed the video. And as always, have a good one.